Winston Peters has poured cold water over the government's much-lauded plans to double the refugee quota to 1,500, which would be a remarkable backdown on a key government policy. His announcement at the opening of the Pacific Islands Forum seems to have taken the Prime Minister by surprise. Jenna Lynch reports.
Winston Peters touching down in Nauru. Pacific leaders are flying in en masse for the 49th Pacific Islands Forum, the elephant on the island, likely to be Australia's policy of keeping refugees on Nauru. New Zealand has offered to take in 150 of them. Australia's steadfastly declined. It's always been an awkward trans-Tasman topic and will continue to be tomorrow when Peters meets his freshly appointed counterpart.
The refugee issue here is a refugee issue arranged between the Australians and Nauru.
The offer is part of our total refugee quota, which until recently was stuck at 750 a year. National increased it slightly to 1,000 per year in response to the Syrian refugee crisis. The government has promised to lift that to 1,500 a year, a doubling of the original quota, though perhaps no one told Peters.
So do you think we should can our commitment to double the refugee quota?
Well, we never made a commitment to double the refugee quota.
That's not what the Immigration Minister said in July.
It is still my intention to see an increase in the refugee quota to 1,500.
Reiterating that just 2 weeks ago. In a press release celebrating Christchurch reopening as a refugee resettlement centre, he said that would go some way to help us achieve lifting our refugee quota to 1,500 per year in this term of government.
We've agreed to take it to 1,000 at this point in time. Those are discussions we've had. But we've made no announcement to double it.
That's already at 1,000.
Well, no. Well, okay, let's not bandy words.
Peter's clearly playing to his base.
I can show you parts of the Hokkien and elsewhere, parts of Northland, where people are living in degradation. We have to help fix their lives up as well before we start taking on new obligations.
The Prime Minister caught off guard by her deputy's comments.
It hasn't come through Cabinet yet. That's a fair reflection that final paper has not come before us yet.
Golriz Garaman, New Zealand's first refugee MP, says the Greens want to go even further, gradually increasing to reach 6,000 refugees a year.
Our policy is that New Zealand should double the refugee quota, then double it again up to 6,000 over 5 years.
There's a coalition government, and that coalition government did not promise to double the refugee numbers.
This will be a tricky one for the government to navigate. Winston Peters has to be seen to be putting New Zealand first. It's the name of his party. But the Prime Minister specifically put the refugee issues here on Nauru on the agenda, constantly niggling at Australia to change their mind. What was set to be an elephant on the island looks set to become an entire herd, storming through the Pacific Islands Forum, thanks to a foreign minister. In Nauru, Jenna Lynch, Newshub.